I'd like to call the City of Twinsburg Caucus meeting for June 8th, 2021 to order at 7 p.m. The meeting is also streaming live on the city's YouTube channel. Shannon, please call the roll.
Ms. McBarron?
Here.
Mr. Sabidi?
Here.
Mr. Bellin?
Here.
Mrs. Walker?
Here.
Mr. Bart?
Here.
Mrs. Stoffer?
Here.
Mr. Fury?
Here.
Do we have any presentations this evening?
There are none.
At this time, are there any items for discussion?
Yes, there is the application for a liquor permit on city property. Jem, are you prepared to talk, or?
Yeah, the judge here, if there's any questions to answer, but essentially the long and short of it is we've had an application for use of the amphitheater, right, that they want a gentleman or a company wants to use it. There's a day-long barbershop quartet event that is going on there, and he wanted to provide alcohol as part of that event. So in order to do that, in addition to the application that has to be submitted, which the application's been submitted, there's a number of questions that still need to be answered, I think, that Jen's working through and the city's working through, but we wanted to bring this to council because pursuant to ordinance, council has to approve. It would be on this individual to go and get their one-day permit and have the alcohol at that event, but it's not our permit they would be using. But that's a 30-plus day process for him to go through that. So we told him we'd bring it to council tonight and see what council's feeling is on it. So.
Is it full liquor or beer and wine or everything?
They have not told me what type of liquor. That's one of the questions I have out there. I also have what their security needs are going to be because they're going to have to handle security because it's their liquor permit. So I do not have that answer.
Okay.
Do you have any idea how many people they're expecting at this event?
I don't. When they had it at the fitness center, 3 or 4 years ago, they had about 150 people.
Okay.
But this is a 12-hour event. That was a 2-hour event. So I really don't know what to expect.
It's 12 hours of a barbershop quartet?
Correct.
I mean, that's a long time of,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I guess they've got different people coming in throughout.
okay.
So, yeah. It is free to the public.
Based on what you know now, are you in favor of this? Are you,
I am not in favor of them having a liquor license. No,
okay.
I am not. Just because we don't have any control on our side, because it is, I mean, they're paying for the amphitheater use only. And I just, I'm not comfortable with that.
Are they charging for people to attend?
They say they are not.
So it's just an
open public for 12 hours, come and listen to the barbershop quartets.
So they're giving away alcohol for free.
No, they're charging for their alcohol.
Oh.
They will charge for their
I don't know that
alcohol.
we can even do that though.
They can under their liquor license.
If they apply, I mean, depending on what they apply for, and that's the other thing. We haven't seen that yet, what they've applied for. Their application says they anticipate a total attendance of 400 during the day-long event.
But that doesn't negatively impact our liquor license there?
No, they would have to
No.
get their own, right? But
Yeah.
and they may or may not qualify. I mean, depending
Right,
on,
and they may or may not want food trucks. I mean, we still don't know. That's still unknown too.
Okay.
So,
Mr. Maestros, are we able to require a specific level of security or within
the police chief has to sign off on this also. That's
Okay.
a step in addition to anything council's approval. The police department has to meet with them and sign off on it before it happens. So
Okay.
they're going to require security.
Okay. I mean, pending the answers to these questions, I guess I don't have a problem with it, but I would want to hear the answers to those questions and understand how many people they're expecting and what types of security and if Chief Nova is okay with it, you know.
yeah, and see, they're going to run out of time with their liquor license too, because they've got 30 days, but they've got to have a plan to us before, because even the liquor board is probably going to ask them those same questions.
Okay.
So.
I mean, I feel bad, but that's not my problem. If they
Yeah,
run out
we've
of
been
time.
working
I
on
mean,
this with them since
yeah.
probably March or April.
Okay.
So,
So this is just to give them permission to apply, and then?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, because we don't want them to apply and then us say, no, sorry, you can't
Right.
have it, so. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other items?
There are none.
Do we have any audience participation?
There is none.
pending legislation, ordinance 44, 2021. This ordinance is the annual recodification and editing of codified ordinances for the city. Online updates should be in place by the end of next week. Is there any discussion? Ordinance 45, 2021. This ordinance is regarding amending codified section 11101 regarding council meeting start time. The change is as stated. Regular meetings of council shall commence at 7 p.m., beginning with a caucus of council prior to commencement of the regular council meeting. The regular council meeting shall begin shortly after the conclusion of the caucus at a time announced by the council president. Any discussion?
I have a question. Is there a reason, or I know there is, what is the reason that we have two separate meetings as opposed to have a single meeting and just handle both pieces of business at the same meeting?
I mean, originally when it started, whether it was committee of the whole or a caucus, the idea was that it would be a more informal meeting to discuss and have a back and forth discussion regarding pending legislation in case there's any questions or proposed amendments or changes or just any questions council may have. As time has gone by, essentially now we are broadcasting all of our meetings. So essentially the caucus is the same as a council meeting. They just run back to back. The problem we run into is we advertise our council meetings and it's posted in ordinances, start time of 7:30. So if we end tonight's meeting at 7:10, we have to sit around and wait 20 minutes before we can start the council meeting because it's been posted and advertised for 7:30. The reality of it is you might very well just want to have a council meeting starting at 7 if that's the time you choose and just place either caucus or legislation discussion on that agenda, and you can discuss the legislation prior to, in case there's any questions, before you get to the agenda item of legislation and passage. It might make sense to do that. I'm not sure there's any, because everything else is really duplicated between the caucus and the council meeting. The only thing different is the legislation discussion. So if you just added that as an agenda item,
Yeah.
I think it serves the same purpose, and you just have a council meeting, and the council meeting begins at 7 or 7:30 or whatever time you choose.
Yeah, personally, I would prefer that.
I
don't-
do too.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
but,
It's fine, it's the same way the planning commission works.
yeah, there's a
Right,
work session.
right.
before it
Work
starts,
session.
yeah.
So that,
Okay,
Yeah.
we have a
Right,
work
so it's the same
session.
thing, it's a work session
it's a
prior
work
to the
session.
regular meeting, which is what we're doing.
Right.
We're doing, we call it a caucus prior to the regular meeting.
But you
Well, no, but
cannot have a
on
break
the-
in
But I'm
between.
pretty sure that it's
Depends on-
planning, that's actually part of their meeting.
Exactly.
Right.
So I mean, you could call the meeting to order and then you have your caucus within the council meeting.
Right.
right.
Yeah.
So then would the language change in the
Language would
legislation?
change.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
But is it, I'm sorry, is it council's desire to still start the council meeting then, if you're just gonna have a council meeting at 7, or do you wanna leave it at 7:30?
7,
No, 7:00.
at 7 o'clock,
7 o'clock.
yeah.
So what do we need to change on the verbiage?
David,
Well, I'll make that change
Dave will
going
rewrite
into
it and
that
resubmit
second
it.
reading.
Pass it tonight.
So we'll pass on
Pass
it?
over it.
It's
It's
only
an
on first
ordinance.
reading
It's only on
tonight.
first
Oh, okay. There you
It's
go.
an ordinance.
Ordinance 46, 2021. This is the 2022 tax budget, which is to be read for the first time tonight. We do this annually to submit to the county by their July 15th deadline. It also allows the city to participate in the distribution of local government funds. The city is applying for 3 funds to have retried tax as a source of revenue. These include the fire pension for 0.3 mils, police pension for 0.3 mils, and police and fire levy fund for 2.4 mils. Is there any discussion on ordinance 46? Ordinance 47, 2021. Ordinance 47 is an amendment to the reappropriating money in the local coronavirus relief fund. The amendment is for $22,374.72 and is specifically related to the 2020 automated fixture restroom project. Any discussion? Ordinance 48, 2021. This is a resolution to allow ODOT to perform work in the city limits as it pertains to resurfacing of State Route 91 and I-480. There's a shared cost, which the city is responsible for 20%. Is there any discussion on resolution 48?
I think Amy's gonna talk.
Just for, it's not something that ODOT is going to do right now. It's their preliminary legislation. They haven't designed the plans. They're doing a lot of bridge work on 40 and looking at the area under the bridge as being part of the resurfacing. As far as our sheriffs, say they did like I said, if they did $100,000 worth of resurfacing on 91, which is typically our responsibility, we usually do an 80-20 split. That'd be about $20,000 we'd have to budget for in that year they did it. So we'll get more information as they go forward if they're just looking for this as something they can go to design with.
Thank you. Council, does anyone have any miscellaneous items for discussion? Okay, then this meeting is now adjourned at